Tom Lee has some very important things to say about the current situation of the stock market. Strap in, sit tight. This is very important information you don't want to miss. Don't worry about looking for the subscribe button or the like button or even the Discord or coaching link. We'll talk about that very soon. First, let's sit here and listen to what Tom Lee has to say. But first, this Sunday, November 10th, my free masterclass webinar, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. Very limited spots available. Click the link in the information box below to join my free webinar this Sunday, and my students are all saying the same thing. You'll learn more in the 1 hour you spend with me than you will anywhere else. I have a huge announcement on Sunday, and I'll have a Q&A section for you and I to discuss any questions you may have. I'll have an answer hopefully for you. I hope to see you guys this Sunday. Let's take a listen to what Tom Lee has to say.
Join us now on the markets. Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, chief investment officer at Fundstrat Capital, and the list goes on and on. And he's a CNBC contributor. First post-election appearance that we've had. You knew Trump was going to win.
Well,
not many people did.
Yes, that's.
I'll give you credit. Are you saying you didn't? Maybe you didn't say it in so many words, but you said it.
Yes, I'd say that we were placing a lot more weight on what the betting markets were pointing to, and so and we. When we look at all the deltas,
And you saw it in the Trump trade,
yes.
And you saw it in Bitcoin.
Correct.
And you saw it in sectors of the market that would benefit from,
that's right.
Presumably, but who knows, from a Trump presidency. So 1,500 points out of the gate. More to come, or are we're already there?
I think we need to respect this move. I mean, there was a tremendous rally post-election, and it continued yesterday. I think it really does reflect a lot of money was taken out of the market because of the uncertainty around the election. And now we know that because of policy changes and animal spirits, that this is really going to benefit things like Bitcoin and small caps and regional banks and financials. So I do think there's still a lot of upside. I mean, small caps trade at 10 times median forward earnings. I mean, that's a...
So what do you think that should be? 12 times? And what's the opportunity set in your mind?
Well, since 1987, small caps traded on a median PE basis at a premium to the S&P. The S&P is at 17 times. So I think small caps could, in the next couple years, outperform by more than 100%.
And what do you think about some of the macro issues that I think create a different level of uncertainty? We keep talking about the bond market and what that might be saying, what you think is happening with gold. Are the bond vigilantes going to be this governor on whatever you think is going to happen in Washington?
As James Carville famously said, the bond market is, everyone's scared of the bond market. So that is something we need to watch. But we've had plenty of periods where stocks have risen with bonds rising. And I kind of agree with Powell's assessment that it's not yields have gone up not because of inflation, but because there's sort of a change in growth expectations.
I thought that a sweep was, for either party, was the death knell for the markets and frightening to all involved. And now we're getting a sweep. Why isn't it more frightening? Maybe the sweep the other way would have been a little more frightening to some.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason investors are getting somewhat optimistic is that President Trump is entering office again, but this time with a lot more knowledge of how to build a cabinet and a team. And so in some ways, this would end up being more market friendly. And I think that's why investors are becoming optimistic. I mean, I kind of agree with the idea that there are animal spirits growing.
He'll never be deficit friendly, will he? I mean, he will be deficit friendly. He won't be, if we cut taxes on tips, Social Security, overtime, remove the SALT cap, extend the tax cuts. If you do all those things, that seems like
it's going to be very difficult to fix the deficit with just changes in taxes and spending. But it's probably why Bitcoin is kind of interesting here, because it's potentially a Treasury reserve asset. And, if Bitcoin rises in price, it actually helps offset the liabilities, which is the deficit.
So you were at 150, I think, on Bitcoin, weren't you? But
yeah.
Not necessarily by the end of this year, or?
I think 6 figures is still possible for it before the end of the year, yeah.
And then more next year and the year after?
Yeah, I think because now, post-halving and now Bitcoin's becoming a lot more relevant, and I think maybe the regulatory overhang is diminishing, that there's a lot of upside from here, yes.
Okay, S&P. end of next year?
Well, between now and year end, 5 to 10% is
More.
probably the base case, just because that's the type of rally post-election, and we have a dovish Fed and, the normal seasonals.
Is that the right move right now for the Fed?
I think inflation fighting war is largely over, and, the real rate is still too high. So I agree with Fed's view that we need to move towards neutral, which is towards 3%. So I think it is supportive of markets, and business investment has been constrained. So I think these things are positive.
So what about 2000? What's next year? Is that 25? They move so fast. They're like months now, the years. So what about 2025? So 5 to 10% more would put us well above.
Yeah, more than 6,000 before year end. I think at least for the foreseeable future.
No recession.
No recession,
And people want you to answer when I ask you a question. So what are you saying? 60, what hundred on the S&P?
I think well past like 6,700.
No,
sometime next year.
6,700.
Yeah, sometime next year, because
That's another 20%, isn't it?
Yeah, it's maybe 10, 15. Yeah, because margin debt hasn't really risen in the last 4 months, and the stock market's up. So we know investors haven't been adding risk. And now we have earnings visibility, and we have a continued dovish Fed, and then this election's behind us, so multiple tailwinds exist.
Wow. You're pretty bullish.
I think I'm pretty positive on the U.S. and fundamentals, yes.
Okay, good.
So you heard what Tom Lee said about the stock market. We have a lot of tailwinds that we're heading into for 2024. First is the post-elections, the unknown, the uncertainties behind us. We have earnings visibility going forward, which is very good. We have a fairly, and I would say overly dovish Fed with already 2 interest rate cuts, a 50 basis point and a 25 basis point cut this year. In the last couple of months, we're now down to 4.25, and we're looking to make it to 3% somewhere in 2025. We have a lot of bullish fundamentals and a $100,000 price target signifying a 25%, 30% upside on Bitcoin, which means Shiba Inu and Dogecoin will also go up. And because Trump is now going to be the president, he believes pretty heavily in digital cryptocurrency, and so does Elon Musk. Elon Musk is going to be putting Dogecoin on Tesla's website. I'm not sure if he's done that already, but he was talking about doing that and accepting payments. I know he was accepting payments with Dogecoin, but this is going to stimulate the economy as far as Dogecoin is concerned. But we also have to look at the other positives of Donald Trump in the presidency. There are some negatives, but there's a lot of positives, which is stimulation of the economy. We have an overly dovish Fed right now, which is good. PMI services data is continually getting better. Inflation is dropping like a rock. And remember, unemployment's not getting worse. It's actually getting better. We have less and less people unemployed, but the difference is we're having so much more job availability with expansions in services, not enough people to fill those jobs. And I don't mean it like not enough people to fill them. We also have PMI services expanding. So there is not really a situation of unemployment. It's just the jobs market is accelerating and growing faster than it normally should. And I've explained this in a previous video. I'm not going to harp on that too long right now, but that's also good. But Donald Trump believes in something very critical to the economy, and that is drill, baby, drill. When you drill, crude oil gets cheaper. If transportation costs with fuel go down due to domestic drilling, everything goes down. Therefore, consumer spending and confidence goes up. This is just part of the picture. And therefore, people spend more money and things become cheaper. And then Trump is proposing tax rate cuts. So if we have an overly dovish Fed cutting interest rates, money's cheaper to get. We're domestically drilling, so gas is now cheaper, so transportation's cheaper. So now a lot of things get cheaper and inflation tames down even more. Then the Feds cut interest rates even more, so money's even cheaper to get than it was earlier in the year. And then on top of that, Trump is proposing tax cuts, so now we owe less in tax in certain brackets. All of these things are going to stimulate the economy. And not only that, because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are going to go up, that's going to kind of give us a little bit of a security backdrop, like Tom Lee said, I guess you could say, our deficit. It's going to protect us on the deficit because of, the tax rates going down and the APY and the cost of borrowing going down as well. Another thing Tom Lee talked about was small caps. They typically trade 20 times, on the forward median PE ratio, and they're normally more bullish and they trade at a higher X than the SPY does. And the SPY right now is trading at 17 times roughly, and small caps are trading at 10. So that really shows that over the next year or two, we could see 100 to 150%. So a 2x to 3x return over the next year or two in small caps, which is why I'm telling you guys, SoFi, Palantir, Neo, SoundHound, these are great stocks to get into. He also talked about the S&P 500 hitting 600 by the end of the year. I told you guys we would hit 580 to 590. We've already done that. We're only $3 away from $600 by the end of the year. And I think we could really hit 605 or 610, but only time will tell. He said we could hit 660 to 670 in 2025. And this is honestly highly likely because he also explained how a lot of money was pulled out due to uncertainties in the market. We had the pullbacks in August twice. We had one in September, or two in September, and we had one about a week before the elections. All this money is moved out due to uncertainties, and now it's all coming back in. And in 2022, we had like $1 trillion in money market accounts that's now starting to come over. There's a lot of bullish momentum coming to the stock market now, and historically, November, December, January are great months. You don't want to miss out on this move. Start getting your positions ready. Get into stocks that you want, like SoundHound, Palantir, dollar cost average if there's a pullback or if the market starts to come down a little bit. And then as it runs, you start making more and more profits. If you guys are having trouble understanding all of this stuff and tailwinds, like I'm explaining to you guys, headwinds and the economy and oil and how this affects the markets confusing you, I really want to help you guys out. Look, I have students that started out with $8,000, didn't know anything about trading, and 3-4 months later, they've tripled their money to $25,000. I have other students that had a decent idea of what they were doing, and they turned their account from $300 to $475K. And I have other students that turned their $30,000 portfolio into $70,000. You can see the comments on the screen of all of my students that are making profits. Look, I told myself when I made money 6 years ago that I would create a system to help others. I grew up in a Catholic household. My parents were very hard on me to do the right thing all the time and help others when they were in need. My dad runs the Northeastern Division of the entire United States' Homeless Veterans Affairs, and I help him out with that. And I told myself I wanted to be able to help people in my own way, and that's what I've been able to do with this system. I offer a full Discord training course and one-on-one coaching. You guys can sign up at any time. Links in the information box below. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to Adam and what he has to say about my coaching and how I helped him turn his life around and achieve financial success.
In just a short amount of time, the program that you offer, I've learned so much, and I've changed my entire approach to investing. I'm much more structured, much more safe, and I've seen consistent, profitable growth. I've seen the growth, and it's almost like unbelievable. Like in a market that we're in now, I was still able to consistently grow because you're so, methodical and structured, and you care about each student. I'm here to say it how it is, right? I've made consistent growth. So I started with $15,000, right? I am now at $40,000. Okay. And I'm so proud. It feels, amazing to be able to share this, because I know that there's so many people that will do the same, right? You have to just trust Corey and trust what he's teaching and what he's offering, because he means so well.
My honest opinion is that you guys should really look to position yourself into some really good small caps and some good stocks that are likely to run strong in 2025. In fact, most stocks are going to do this, but there are a list of stocks that I have handpicked that are very strong, especially for this month and next month. Those videos are coming out very soon in the next couple of days. Watch out for those. My honest opinion right now, like Tom Lee said, the stock market is about to go kaboom in a good way and run fairly bullish. But remember, when things get overly bullish, start being a little fearful, time your entries. But then again, you don't want to time them too hard. You could miss the move. Remember, there's always an opportunity in the market to make money. And right now, there is a great opportunity to make a lot of money. It doesn't matter if the stock market's going up or if the stock market's going down or it's consolidating. There are always opportunities in the the market to make money, especially if you know how to do it and you know what to look for, which is why I offer coaching to help you guys understand that. I think Tom Lee said it best. We are heading into some major tailwinds and a very good foreseeable earnings season coming up in December and January and into the new year. The SPY is also going to be running decently. So you guys want to take some good positions, like I said, in small caps, and let's get ready to enjoy some good interest rate cuts coming up in 2025 and a completely different direction for the country financially under new leadership, and hopefully everything works out. I really do. I think everything's going to be a lot better. Inflation is already coming down and things are getting a lot better. PMI services are expanding. PMI manufacturing has been contracting a bit. Now it's stabilizing. And with Trump as president, he loves manufacturing and loves bringing jobs back. So this is going to expand as well, which is great for the country. And we're also going to be looking out for PMI manufacturing data and services data on December 1st and December 5th. And we're going to see how that matches up in January and February and March. I'm willing to bet that March, April, May, and June is going to get a lot better once Trump is in office. And this is not my opinion of Trump. It's just based on his policies for the stock market. So I say we're in very bullish times. You should be looking very cautiously at some good stocks to get into and leave yourself some room to dollar cost average if there's any pullbacks, so that when this thing starts to go kaboom in a good way, we start printing money just like we want to. Don't forget, guys, free webinar this Sunday, November 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Very limited spots. It won't be recorded. And a lot of people last time could not get in because we filled up and booked out completely. Links in the information box below. You got to sign up right now before it's too late. And if you guys want to sign up for the Discord, the coaching, and the full training course so I can help you guys with your financial freedom, you guys can sign up. That link's also below. One love, fam. I will see you on the next video.